Thorstein Veblen's The Theory of the Leisure Class, published in 1899, is a landmark text in social theory and economics. The book critiques the economic and social systems of the late 19th century, focusing particularly on the dynamics of wealth, consumption, and social stratification. Veblen introduces concepts like conspicuous consumption and conspicuous leisure, which remain pivotal in understanding consumer behavior and societal hierarchies. Historical context. The late 19th century, often referred to as the Gilded Age in the United States, was marked by rapid industrialization, economic growth, and significant disparities in wealth. A small elite class controlled vast amounts of resources, while the majority of the population worked in industrial or agricultural sectors under harsh conditions. This era saw the rise of magnates like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, whose wealth epitomized the inequalities of the time. Veblen's work was a response to this socioeconomic landscape. As an economist and sociologist, he was interested in how wealth and status functioned within society, particularly among the emerging leisure class, a group characterized by their ability to live off inherited wealth or accumulated capital without engaging in productive labor. The leisure class and social stratification. Veblen argues that society is stratified into distinct classes, with the leisure class occupying the apex. This class, he suggests, is defined not by its contribution to economic productivity, but by its capacity for leisure and consumption. Their primary function is to demonstrate their social superiority through visible displays of wealth and leisure. According to Veblen, the leisure class emerges from a historical process in which certain groups, often warrior elites, accumulate power and wealth. Over time, these groups become distanced from productive labor, delegating work to lower classes while focusing on activities that signify status. This detachment from labor allows the leisure class to maintain its superiority, as manual work becomes associated with lower social standing. Cash conspicuous consumption. One of Veblen's most influential concepts is conspicuous consumption, which refers to the practice of purchasing goods and services not for their intrinsic utility, but for their ability to signal wealth and status. Members of the leisure class buy expensive items, such as luxury cars, designer clothes, or lavish homes, to showcase their social position. Veblen highlights the irrationality of this behavior from an economic perspective. Instead of maximizing utility, conspicuous consumption prioritizes social recognition and prestige. This leads to a culture in which individuals compete to outdo one another in their displays of wealth, perpetuating a cycle of excessive spending. The phenomenon is not limited to the leisure class. It trickles down to other social strata as people aspire to emulate the lifestyles of the wealthy. This emulation often results in financial strain as individuals prioritize status symbols over essential needs. Conspicuous leisure. Closely related to conspicuous consumption is the concept of conspicuous leisure. This term describes the visible demonstration of one's ability to afford leisure time. The leisure class engages in activities that are unproductive yet socially prestigious, such as attending exclusive social events, participating in high-culture pastimes like opera or art collecting, and indulging in sports that require significant time and expense, such as golf or yachting. Veblen argues that conspicuous leisure serves a similar purpose to conspicuous consumption. It signals social superiority. By abstaining from productive labor and dedicating time to leisure, the leisure class underscores its economic independence and dominance over those who must work to survive. Kasha pecuniary emulation. Veblen introduces the concept of pecuniary emulation to explain how the values and behaviors of the leisure class influence other social groups. Individuals in lower classes seek to imitate the consumption patterns and lifestyles of the wealthy, aspiring to climb the social hierarchy. This emulation reinforces the status quo as the lower classes internalize the values of the elite and perpetuate the cycle of conspicuous consumption. Pecuniary emulation creates a society obsessed with appearances and material success. Economic decisions are increasingly driven by social considerations rather than practical or utilitarian ones, leading to inefficient allocation of resources and widespread financial insecurity. Critique of capitalism. Veblen's critique extends beyond the leisure class to the capitalist system as a whole. He argues that capitalism prioritizes profit and status over social welfare and economic efficiency. The emphasis on consumption and leisure creates a distorted economy in which resources are allocated to satisfy the desires of the elite, rather than addressing the needs of the majority. Moreover, Veblen criticizes the notion of economic progress. He contends that technological and industrial advancements, while beneficial in theory, are often co-opted by the leisure class to serve their interests. Instead of improving societal well-being, these advancements are used to reinforce existing power structures and enhance the status of the elite. Veblen's legacy and modern relevance. Veblen's analysis has had a profound impact on various fields, including sociology, economics, and cultural studies. His concepts of conspicuous consumption and leisure have been widely adopted to understand contemporary consumer behavior and social dynamics. In the modern context, Veblen's ideas remain highly relevant. The rise of social media has amplified the phenomenon of conspicuous consumption as individuals curate online personas to showcase their wealth and lifestyles. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok have become arenas for displaying luxury goods, exotic vacations, and extravagant experiences, perpetuating the culture of pecuniary emulation. Furthermore, the growing wealth gap in many societies mirrors the conditions of the Gilded Age. The global elite, often referred to as the 1%, continues to wield disproportionate economic and political power. Veblen's critique of the leisure class provides a valuable framework for understanding these inequalities and their implications for social cohesion and economic stability. Criticisms of Veblen's theory. While Veblen's work has been widely praised, it has also faced criticism. Some scholars argue that his portrayal of the leisure class is overly simplistic and deterministic. Not all members of the wealthy elite engage in conspicuous consumption or leisure, and many contribute significantly to society through philanthropy, innovation, or public service. Additionally, critics have pointed out that Veblen's theory does not account for cultural and historical variations. The concept of conspicuous consumption, for instance, may manifest differently in non-Western societies or in different historical periods. Others argue that Veblen's analysis underestimates the agency of individuals in shaping their consumption habits. While social status and emulation play a role, personal preferences, values, and ethical considerations also influence economic behavior. Conclusion. The theory of the leisure class remains a foundational text in understanding the interplay between economics, society, and culture's insights into conspicuous consumption, leisure, and social stratification offer a critical lens through which to examine the dynamics of wealth and power. Despite criticisms, his work continues to resonate in contemporary discussions about inequality, consumerism, and the role of capitalism in shaping social relations. By highlighting the irrationality and inefficiency of a system driven by status and display, Veblen challenges us to rethink our values and priorities. His call for a more equitable and rational economic system remains as urgent today as it was over a century ago.